All right, you guys, welcome to another show, Lone Wolf Pack. We're going to talk today about you not being a person. I've already done this thing once, but I'm having to do it again because, well, I screwed it up the first time. I had my microphone was not on, and it screwed things up. So let's go ahead and I'm going to show you guys this. Let's get started on this. How about that? Let's see. Here we go. Let's get her started. I'm going to comment on this.
To a journey into the esoteric knowledge and...
That's not what I wanted to have up there. So that's the next one. We're going to remove that, and we're going to add this. Man, it's been a tough day today. Let's see, downloads. Here we go. Actually, it's not there. I apologize. It is right here.
This is a very brief presentation as to why you are not a person. To understand how it all works, you first need to understand how contracts work. So a living man or a living woman can contract with another living man or a living woman. A corporation can contract with another corporation. A corporation cannot contract with a living man or a living woman, or vice versa. The government, which is formed of the Crown, the UK, the City of London, the police, social services, they're all profit-making corporations. So how is this corporation telling living men and women what to do? The way they do it is they set up what's called a legal fiction. So when you were born, unbeknownst to your parents, they registered your birth. So Joanne...
So it was unbeknownst to your parents because... Well, it was unbeknownst to them because they didn't know, right? I mean, that's simply stated. But if they would have known, they would have done something different. But since they didn't, they couldn't. So it is what it is.
The family blogs, who is the living woman or living baby.
The family blogs is not the living woman. Blogs is an all caps name that is a corporate entity. And that's in the government printing manual. The government printing office says that their all caps name is not a living man or a living woman. And by definition, a person is an entity. It's not a living man or a living woman. So Miss Joanne Blogs is a corporation. However, Joanne, the woman, is signing up for Joanne Blogs stuff. That's the problem.
At that time became Miss Joanne Blogs, surname in capitals, a corporation.
Okay, see, the problem and the logic with this thinking is that they're saying that when you do stuff, you're a corporation. You're not a corporation. You're signing on behalf of a corporate entity for responsibility, for liability, and that's what you're doing wrong because you shouldn't be liable for anything because of the way that your trust is really supposed to be set up.
That is a person. In 1862, the definition of person was changed to mean corporation.
Nobody victimized you guys, I promise. Nobody victimized you guys, I promise. What happened was they changed this because it was a corporate entity. It became a corporation. And now the corporation has to have a way to keep track of people that are in their company or not in their company. And that's the only way they can do it.
It's part of the legalese trickery.
It's not trickery. It could be trickery. I mean, if you go along with it and you say I'm tricked, then it's trickery. But if you know about it, then it's not trickery. I mean, it's just simple, folks. This is where knowledge is hidden from us, but it's not. You're not a victim because you can go out there and get it any time.
So now, the government, the corporation, can now contract with the legal fiction corporation of Joanne Blogs.
No, the corporation owns the legal fiction. The corporation owns it, and you're going and signing for it. That's how you're getting responsible. You're putting your signature on their stuff and you're liable. And you can't go complain and say, no, this isn't me. It's not me. It's not me. And you've already agreed to this. Your signature is on a driver's license. It's on other things that you've agreed to along the way. So you can't say, well, no, I never agreed to this, because you've been agreeing all along the way. And there's marks all along the way that says you agree.
Dogs, in capitals, the person. If you look at letters, fines, etc. that come through the post, you'll see there'll be different variants, but some or all of your name will be in capitals. Those are the various
It's not your name, folks. It is not your name. It is not your name. It is not your name. It's not your name. It is their name. And why you're opening their mail, well, I'm kind of curious. Why are you opening their mail? Leave a comment.
To set up in your name in order for the government to contract with you.
You contracted with them. You can't bitch and moan about the government contracting with you when you were the one that walked up and turned it all in.
So in order to contract with you, they impose rules.
Yeah, they impose rules. You walked up to them and you said, hey, under Article 1, Section 10, I'd love to sign a contract with you. And so you signed it. And now you're like, well, I got rules and licenses and fines and bills and taxes and regulations. Well, you signed. You signed it. So, yeah, you do. That's what signing does. Okay? So that's what signing does.
Licenses, fines, bills, taxes, regulations, they are all contracts between the corporation of the government and the corporation of your legal fiction.
Yeah, because the corporation created the legal fiction and you're using it.
To be valid, there are certain rules that need to be abided by. Firstly, the parties must be competent to contract, so they must be of the age of consent.
Yeah, so they must be competent to contract and of the age of consent. But if you're there doing it, then that's presumption.
They must be mentally able, and they must be
Presumption.
free to contract between legal or lawful entities.
Okay, so clearly you guys didn't know the difference between contracting between legal and real living entities. So you can't say, well, I must have full disclosure of that. If you sign it, then you knew about it. You had full disclosure if you signed it. Otherwise, why are you signing?
There must be free and genuine consent.
Free and genuine consent. Yeah, I'll sign if you give me that car.
So that consent has not been obtained by fraud, deceit, coercion, or mistake.
Well, you know what? If you give me the car, I'll give you the signature. That's kind of a coercion, right? It's kind of an influence. It's kind of a manipulation. It's all manipulative, but you guys just got to know before you sign stuff that's, what you're signing. You shouldn't be getting into contracts.
There must be full disclosure.
Full disclosure means that they gave you the contract and you had a chance to read it. It doesn't mean that they didn't come out and tell you specific things, because it's in the contract. It's in the contract, but you got to go and you're going to have to find these things. You got to read these contracts before you sign anything.
Providing all material information that may influence the decision on both parties' behalves. There must be valuable consideration. So something of value.
Yeah, valuable consideration is a return on your note.
Needs to exchange between both parties. There needs to be certainty of terms. Those terms and conditions are fixed and they're unable to be changed without agreement.
All
there
true.
Must be a meeting of minds. So when those parties recognise and comprehend their obligations.
If you sign, you had a meeting of the minds.
Autographs in wet ink as recorded evidence.
Okay, MERS does not do wet ink anymore, guys. If you come over to my house and I have a thing that says, okay, anybody that signs this agreement, you're going to have to sign the agreement with a stamp. There can't be a signature on that. If I say that, that's my rule. If you sign it, you agree. It is as simple as that. There is no rocket science behind any of this.
Of reciprocal consent.
Reciprocal consent is giving the signature for something else you're getting in return. And if you don't know what it said in the paper, then that's your fault.
If the contract is between a living man or a living woman and another living man or living woman, then it's an autograph. If a person is signing on behalf of their legal fiction, it's a signature. And there must be privity of contract, so that contract cannot be sold on to a third party.
Okay,
So there
so
you have
again, privity to a contract, the contract being sold to the third party. If you just went and made a contract that says that they could sell it to a third party, then you just agreed to what she's saying that you can't do. If it's in the contract, you can do it. But if it's not, then you can't. So she agreed to that. You can't go back. This is misleading, very misleading.
it. You, as the living soul, are not your legal fiction.
You can never be. It's impossible to be a living thing and a dead thing at the same time.
You are not a person. However, you act on behalf of your legal fiction. So you choose what contracts you want to enter into.
Yeah, you should have done that before. See, the problem is if you don't know how you're entering into a contract, then why would you enter into it? Like, what am I in this contract? Does anyone ever ask that? Does anyone never know? That's kind of important to know. Like, what am I in this? What's my role?
In common law, the laws are simple. You cause no harm, loss or injury to another living soul or their property. There's no threat of harm, loss or injury. And you're honourable in all your dealings.
Unless, and again, you guys in common law, you sign a contract, you're not in honor. If you sign the contract and it says these things on the contract, then you just agreed to them. So you can't go back later and say, no, I didn't agree to this. There wasn't full disclosure because I didn't read it.
So let's look at the definition of crime.
Crime is a word that is in a company's indenture. So if you guys want to go and create a company called Duck Duck Goose, okay, you call it Duck Duck Goose, and you want to make it so that, well, nobody can wear any jackets that have duck or goose feathers in them over at your organization. Then you have to follow it. It's not a crime then. They call it a crime because they label it in their indenture as crimes. So you guys are a member of their trust, and now you're like, well, why do I get this crime thing? Well, you're a member. That's why.
It is defined as an act committed in violation of a law.
Violation of a law, a violation of a company's private rules.
It's unlawful activity, and it's a serious offence. So if you've forgotten to get insurance on your car, or you've forgotten to sawn it and you get sent a fine,
It's not for you.
who have
It's
you
for the
caused
name.
harm, loss or injury to?
Well, the company, because you signed up with the company to be a part of it, and now you're bitching and moaning because they sent you something.
It's not actually breaking a law.
It's a rule,
breaking a rule.
a corporate rule.
Those
Yeah.
rules only apply to persons.
No, they
If you-
apply to persons that sign up for. They apply to the. Okay, this is getting into something called suretyship, and it's when you sign up for this third party, then you become responsible. You can't get on here and make a PowerPoint and complain about it.
Look at every single piece of legislation that's been issued by the government, by Parliament. It only applies to person. You will not find the word man or woman in there because they cannot impose it
It's irrelevant.
on living souls.
Yeah, they can. They can impose it on. They
So
they send you to jail,
Think
don't
to
they,
yourself,
for not
where is
doing
the
it?
victim?
The victim, they're the victim. When you go to someone's house and you say, hey, I want to come hang out at your house under your rules, and then you go break the rules and they send you a bill, they're the victim because you agreed to all this stuff ahead of time. You can't go agree to it and then not do it later on.
So your legal fiction becomes a member of the Society of the UK Corporation.
No, the legal fiction was always the member of the society. You just joined in with it.
So you have to follow the rules of that society.
No, the legal fiction does, and you have signed up on behalf of them.
Well, your legal fiction does. Let's look at this with a different perspective. You have a Tesco club card, for example.
If you go to Tesco and you signed up for Tesco's rules,
as a club card holder,
then you
are
have to follow
a
their
member
stuff.
of the Society of Club Card Holders.
Yeah, why'd you join?
So Tesco's have just announced that they've come up with a new rule. You can only eat on a Wednesday if you eat in a Tesco's cafe.
That's
You
their
have a club
rules.
card. Their
Why is it
board
so
has
hard?
scrutinised and ratified the rule, so you've got to do what they say. Do you? No, you're not your club card. By the same token, you are not your legal fiction.
You can never be. No one's ever said that.
However, you can't just ignore something that's been imposed on you.
Okay,
If you-
not imposed on you. It's not imposed on you. You signed up for it a long time ago, and then someone sent you something, and you're saying, no. Well, it's saying, yeah, if you're silent, because you already agreed to it. Tacit acceptance. Now, if you deny it, you're in breach because you already agreed to it.
Don't respond, i.e., if you exercise your right to silence, which is another trick, by the way,
It's not a
it's
trick.
considered tacit acceptance.
Yeah, you're
You
accepting
must
it.
rebut. You have to state that what they're saying is not true. So if you need to rebut face to face, so say for example, a police officer is
Not
trying
a
to
good
impose
idea.
a fine on you, that fine is an invitation to contract.
So here's the
That's
deal.
how you have to look at it.
If you're getting a fine, you're in the wrong status. Okay. If you're getting a notice or you're getting anything, you're in the wrong status. That's the problem. You got to fix that.
So all you say is, I do not
Saying I do not consent after signing a contract that said you would consent is dishonor.
consent. I do not wish to contract
Signing a contract that says you will contract with them whenever they present you with a presentment and then saying you don't is dishonor.
with you. I do not answer questions.
Not answering questions after you signed a contract that said you would answer questions is dishonor. That's unclean hands, all three of those.
You need to stick
You wonder why you get treated like crap in court.
to the script because legalese has taken so many of the common English words and turned them against us in order to trip and trap us. So, for example, the police officer will say to you, do you understand? And that means, do you agree to stand under my authority? You would think to yourself, yeah, I understand what you're saying. And so you say, yes. You've just contracted. You've just done what's called create joinder. You don't want to do that. So stick to the script. I do not consent. I do not wish to contract with you.
So-
I do not answer questions.
Okay, so you go and agree to all those things and then you go and dishonor by saying I don't agree.
That is your rebuttal, face to face. If you get something in the post, again, you need to rebut it. Do
No.
it in writing.
You shouldn't be accepting it. Why are you taking their mail?
Respond within 3 days, and you can rebut with conditional acceptance, which pretty much says, okay, you want to fine me £90 for parking in the wrong place. Prove to me that we had a contract, that I agreed to the terms of that contract.
How did they know who you are if you didn't have a contract, guys? For real. Your name's all over everything. The name that you're responsible for is all over
Contract.
everything.
Prove to me that me, as a living man or a living
Do you see
woman,
why this is dishonor? Prove to me.
am
Prove to me I signed
liable,
that thing. Prove to me I
because
agreed to
actually,
it.
They're finding your legal fiction, not you.
They've got an accounting that's opened up in your name while you're saying, I didn't ever sign anything or agree to anything with you. It like that is the most dishonorable thing you could ever do is deny that.
So don't let the corporations grey the simple understanding of the law. Everything other than common law
Okay, corporations can't gray anything because they're corporations, okay? And they can't convolute your understanding because they're corporations. This lady just said corporations can't do anything. They can't make you do anything. And it says, don't let them do stuff to you. Like you're either on one side or the other. It's not both.
is contract.
Everything other than common law is contract law. And that's true, but there's also equitable law that is not being discussed here that the remedy is.
Of course, if you do actually break a law and create a victim, so you do cause harm, loss or injury or threat to another living man, then you are breaking the law, and they are able to deal with you in that way. But everything else,
Now,
that is contract.
so let's be clear. Okay, they're only allowed to deal with you in the way that they have you. If you're in their trust, they deal with you the way that their trust says. If you're in your trust, then your trust determines the law. So this isn't incorrect. This is a lot of inaccurate stuff, and a lot. I mean, I could see where
Thank you
people
for
would get
listening.
angry. I could see where people would get angry at the information that's in here because it's kind of a little bit of is misleading. It's making people seem like they're victims. You guys are not victims. You guys can go and pick this stuff up and start taking care of it anytime you're ready. Whenever you decide, hey, you know what? Today's the day that I'm going to go ahead and just take care of all this stuff and resolve my issues. And you just go and do it. That's just is what it is, folks. Like, that's all we do. So listen, I appreciate you guys coming out today. I just wanted to go over this and just discuss it with you and kind of tell you guys like why this is misleading and what it does. And we'll go over some other things. If you guys have like other footage, video, or anything else you want me to go over and we can talk about, I'll be happy to do that. If you have a court case or something, I'd be happy to talk about that too. So just get with us. Let us know. You know, you can reach us at lonewolfpack.net. It's up here in the corner. And I can put a banner up there for you guys. But the lonewolfpack.net is the website where you guys can reach us. And please do come out and check us out. And you can also check out our YouTube channel. We have a YouTube channel under Equity Eyes. So you can go at Equity Eyes in YouTube, and we have several videos on that. So you guys, I appreciate you very much. Thank you for coming out and checking us out, and have an amazing day. With that, I yield.